Two men that almost nobody in Philadelphia knew existed walked into the Eagles training facility this week and signed contracts, my friend. Between the two of them, they have fewer snaps in the entire NFL than a lot of starters play in a single game. One of them has never taken the field for a single defensive snap in this league. Not one. And a few months ago, he was playing for a team in a league that most Brazilian fans do not even know exists. At first glance, this is the most irrelevant news of the week. One of those end-of-August signings nobody reads. Except there is one detail in this story that changes everything. And that detail has a first name, a last name, and is currently one of only 3 healthy players at an entire position on this roster. Hold on to that, because I am coming back to it at the end. The truth is that these 2 signings are not paperwork. They are the most honest thermometer we have for the real state of this roster 2 weeks out from the start of the regular season. And what that thermometer is reading is not comfortable. If you are a die-hard Eagles fan, hit that like button and subscribe right now, because we are going position by position, and you are going to understand exactly where this team is bleeding. Let us start with the basics. Every NFL team enters the final week of the preseason with the expanded roster at its limit, 90 players. The Eagles, because of the international player exception, can go up to 91, and the roster was full, which means that in order to sign anybody at all, they had to clear space first. And that is exactly what the front office did, opening 2 spots and filling both of them on the same day. The first spot went to a 23-year-old running back who has already been released by 3 different franchises just in this year and the one before it. His name is Jordan Mims, and Mims' resume is the perfect portrait of what it means to be a back-of-the-roster player in the NFL. He has been in the league since 2023, when he signed as an undrafted free agent with the Buffalo Bills. He never actually stepped on the field for the Bills. He ended up on the New Orleans Saints practice squad, where he spent 2 seasons and managed to appear in 13 games, piling up 20 carries for 70 yards and 12 catches for 71 yards. And keep in mind, all of that production is concentrated in one single season, 2024. In 2025, he was with the Tennessee Titans, where he appeared in exactly 1 game, playing 9 special teams snaps. He went through minicamp with the San Francisco 49ers. Then he was signed by the Minnesota Vikings at the end of July and waived 2 weeks later, adding up 3 entire seasons of career, 108 offensive snaps, and 71 special teams snaps. That is the whole thing. Now, why did the Eagles need this man? Because the running back room simply does not have enough bodies to finish a football game. Will Shipley is considered a lock for the final roster, which in practice means the coaching staff is not going to risk him in a game that means nothing. Dameon Pierce spent the last several weeks dealing with a hamstring injury and has only now been upgraded to limited participation in practice. And Carson Steele, who had an eye-catching performance against New England, is fighting for a spot not as a running back, but as a fullback. In other words, there is almost nobody left, and there is a painful reason that hole got even bigger. On the opening kickoff of the game against the New England Patriots, an Eagles running back made a tackle on special teams coverage and did not get up. The game stopped. An ambulance came onto the field. His name is Jaquindon Jackson. The good news, and this needs to be said clearly, is that according to the team's official statement, he had feeling and movement in all of his extremities, was evaluated at the hospital, and traveled home with the team. But he was waived with an injury designation, and that is why he is gone. It is worth quickly explaining that mechanism, because a lot of people misunderstand it. When a player is let go this way, the other teams have a short window to claim him. If nobody claims him, the franchise negotiates what is called an injury settlement with him, which typically compensates him for the estimated number of weeks he will miss. It is not abandonment. It is financial protection while he recovers. So to sum up the room, the Eagles lost a body to injury. They have a lock who will not play, a veteran coming back from injury on limited work, and a young guy competing at a different position. That is why Jordan Mims is in Philadelphia. This is not a talent signing. It is a pure necessity signing. And then comes the second name, which is where this story gets genuinely interesting. Jalen Mahoney, 25 years old, a defensive back out of Vanderbilt. He signed as an undrafted free agent with the San Francisco 49ers in 2024. And here is the number I mentioned at the very beginning. As a rookie, he played 30 snaps across the entire season, every single one of them on special teams. Defensive snaps in the NFL, across his whole career, 0. None. He bounced on and off the 49ers roster through 2025 and finished the year on the New York Jets practice squad. But then he did something most players in that situation do not do. Instead of waiting for the phone to ring, he went and played. Mahoney was selected by the Orlando Storm in the 2026 UFL draft. He appeared in 6 games, played 259 snaps, most of them at safety, and recorded 26 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, and 2 pass breakups. He came back with real game tape to show. And the Philadelphia Eagles were the first NFL team to call him after that season in the alternative league. The first. And the reason is the state of this team's secondary, which is the most fragile part of the roster right now. Let us go through it. Cole Wisniewski, who is in the competition for the final safety job, missed practice with a concussion, and there is no guarantee he will be in condition to play. Mac McWilliams is dealing with a shoulder problem. Ambry Thomas has a groin injury, and he was already coming off a rough week in the practices against New England. Jacorian Bennett is also working his way back. Jonathan Jones has been out with a shoulder problem. Do you know how many cornerbacks are fully healthy on this entire roster? 3. Isaiah Bolden, Shaun Wade, and Kapena Gushikin. And that is exactly why Mahoney's listing matters. He is not registered as a safety. He is registered as a defensive back, which gives the coaching staff the freedom to use him outside at cornerback or inside at safety, depending on where the hole is biggest come game time. On a roster where the final safety spot is being contested by Andre Sam, Maximus Pulley, Kapena Gushikin, and Wisniewski himself, versatility is not a luxury. It is survival currency. Now I am going back to the detail I asked you to hold on to at the beginning. When I said there is a player who is currently one of only 3 healthy men at an entire position, I was talking about Shaun Wade. And do you know how Shaun Wade got to the Philadelphia Eagles? Through exactly the same path Jalen Mahoney is walking right now. He was picked up after a stint in the UFL. At the time, that signing also looked irrelevant. It was also ignored. And today, with half the secondary in the training room, he is one of the few men still standing at that position. That is the part fans usually do not see. Howie Roseman does not make these kinds of signings by accident. He makes them because, statistically, one of those bets eventually hits, and when it does, it costs almost nothing. But now, to be fair and transparent, it is essential to keep our feet on the ground, because there are 4 heavy counterpoints here. First, the most likely reading, by far, is the simplest one. The reporting itself makes clear that these moves exist strictly to get the Eagles through the final preseason game. The odds of Jordan Mims or Jalen Mahoney being on the 53-man roster in September are extremely low. Comparing Mahoney to Shaun Wade right now would be excitement with no foundation. Second, resume matters. 108 offensive snaps across 3 seasons and 0 defensive snaps across 2 seasons are not numbers that suggest hidden talent. They are numbers that suggest players the entire league has evaluated several times over and decided not to prioritize. Can that change? It can, but the track record is against it. Third, signing players at this stage does not solve any part of the actual problem. The actual problem is that the starters and immediate backups in the secondary are hurt. No athlete signed in the last week of August is going to fix that. That only gets fixed by recovery, and recovery depends on time, not on contracts. Fourth, there is a hidden cost to this kind of move. Every snap given to a newcomer in the final game is a snap taken away from a young player already on the roster who is fighting for a job and needs tape to be evaluated on. In a competition as tight as the one for that last safety spot, every single drive is worth gold. So the question I am leaving with you comes in 3 parts. First, do you believe any player signed at this late stage, coming from essentially nowhere, can still surprise everybody and earn a real spot on this roster? Second, among Andre Sam, Maximus Pulley, Kapena Gushikin, and Cole Wisniewski, which one would you put in that final safety spot, and why? And third, this is the one that bothers me most. Does the pileup of injuries in the secondary genuinely worry you heading into the opener against the Washington Commanders? Or do you think this roster's depth can absorb the hit? Leave your opinion in the comments. Do not forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. I will be back later to update you with the latest Eagles news.